What book did you pick for us today?
Yes, I am thrilled to, like Amanda, also be bringing cannibalism to the table. Welcome to Cardigan Chronicles, an original podcast from Herrick District Library in Holland, Michigan, featuring stories about life in the library, our community, and the world of books. We're your hosts. I'm Amanda, a youth services assistant.
And I'm Heather, teen librarian. And today we're going to be chatting with Annaka, one of our public services librarian from the main library, and Rob, manager of the North Branch, about the big read. Then we will finish off our episode with our Book Bite segments, where today we'll be talking about apocalyptic books. So Rob and Annaka, thanks for being here with us today. Annaka, welcome back since you've been with us before.
Thank you very much. Good to be back.
Since we've chatted with Annaka about public services and our last episode was about public services, Rob, would you like to tell us a little bit about North Branch and what you do there?
Yeah, North Branch is just like the main library, but on a smaller scale. So, we're on the north side of Holland. We're on Riley Street, a short 4 miles away, but it feels like a world away. A really lovely space. We did a renovation about 5 years ago, and it's small and big with people incredibly excited to support you, the patron.
Great.
All right. So jumping into our topic today, do you want to tell us exactly what the Big Read is for people that aren't familiar with it?
Yeah, the Big Read is essentially a community reading program. So we are attempting to bring people together through the joy of a shared book. And through that book, we kind of get a better understanding of ourselves, of our community, of our world. That's the goal. It's a really powerful goal. It's an optimistic goal, but it's really remarkable the success the program has had for more than 10 years now.
So you said 10 years for the Big Read. So this is read number 11, or is this read number 10?
This is read number 12,
12.
actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was poor math by me, which is
11?
really embarrassing.
11 or 12.
Okay. It's over 10. There we go.
That's why I said more than 10.
Yeah. Annaka, I don't know if you were able to, I know you haven't worked at the library for 10 years. I don't know if you've done all the books or not, but of the books you have read, what has been your favorite Big Read book so far?
No, I haven't read all the books, but there are some classics on there that people might have read even if they didn't participate in the Big Read program. Our first book was actually To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. And so I've read the last, 4 or 5 basically since I've been involved in the program. Of those, my favorite is probably Circe by Madeline Miller. It is a classic retelling of the story of the Odyssey from the perspective of one of the minor characters, Circe. I also really enjoyed Homegoing, which is the book that we did the year after Circe. It was one of the only ones that I had read before it was selected as a Big Read book, so I was really excited when that one came up.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll jump in. So I've been with Herrick since 2017, and I love both of the books. Well, actually, all the books that Annaka mentioned. To Kill a Mockingbird, it's To Kill a Mockingbird. Everybody loves that. I love the book Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. A sneaky one, a book that I loved that unfortunately the year it was chosen was 2020. And so we didn't actually get to do very much with it. But it was our first venture into using a nonfiction book or a non-traditional book that happened to be nonfiction for the Big Read. And it was going to be the 200th anniversary of the event that inspired the book. It was called In the Heart of the Sea. It's about the whale ship Essex that was the inspiration for the book Moby Dick. And we were going to really tie it into the nautical culture of the Great Lakes and obviously the world in general. And I was really excited about it. And then it all fell apart terribly. And we're never going to do nonfiction again.
2020.
But we did poetry one year with Joe Harjo. No, That's
Joy Harjo.
Yeah, Joy. I was getting Joe Nesbo and Joy Harjo combined. There's too many authors, too many books, and that was a really exciting because it was different and kind of a challenge for us. So I like it when we kind of think out of the box with our selections.
Fun fact, when I worked at Barnes & Noble was the year they did Station 11, and I actually ran the book discussion at Barnes & Noble for Station 11 for the Big Read.
So yeah, that's a good point, actually, is that the Big Read is not just the Herrick Library. It's not just Hope College, which is kind of like the organizing organization for the program, but it is organizations, stores all over West Michigan that participate in the Big Read, not just in Holland. It's as far north as Muskegon as well.
Great point, Annaka.
Thanks, Rob. I guess segueing from that, can you tell us about this year's selection for the Big Read?
Yeah, our book this year is I Cheerfully Refuse by Leif Enger. You might know him from Peace Like a River, which was his debut novel. When was that? Like 2005, maybe?
Earlier than that.
Okay. And he's had a couple more since then. Virgil Wander was his most recent before I Cheerfully Refuse, which just came out in the last year or so. It is a dystopian novel with a heavy emphasis on environment, atmosphere, traveling. Most of the book takes place in Lake Superior, some of it even like in the Keweenaw Peninsula. So it's a very local to us in Michigan book. It's maybe a different read than what a lot of folks have been used to reading, but we've had a lot of good discussions about it, and I think it's a really interesting read. So I'm really hoping people will get into it and be excited to talk about it. But it's not the only book that we are talking about. Rob, do you want to talk about the middle read? I know it's a big favorite of yours.
It is. Yeah. Kind of an interesting note. So the Big Read is about a specific book. It is a book targeted for adults. We're trying to get everyone to read. But the Big Read is also the name of the overall program. So within the Big Read package of books, we have the Big Read, the Middle Read, the Little Read, and the Mini Read. So the Big Read, as Annaka said, is I Cheerfully Refuse. The Middle Read is a favorite of mine. It's called A Wish in the Dark by Christina Soontorn-Vatt, who is a Thai Texan author, a prolific author in children's books, who's written picture books, chapter books, graphic novels. She is a 3-time Newbery Honor Award winner. Never won. Oh, so close. So but this one in particular, I love. I know everyone I've recommended to has really enjoyed it, and that's ranging from like 4th graders up to seniors. And just a really great story. I like to pitch it to people as Les Mis meets Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, and it's really fun when I pitch that. And if somebody knows those two things, how excited they get. But it's a very simple story about kind of a dystopian world that looks like our world, but not quite like our world. This is in Southeast Asia, and a group of kids trying to make the world a better place. And really good. So that's the Middle Read. That author is going to be visiting us later in 2026. We're excited about that as part of a March is Reading Month package we're doing with local schools. The Little Read is doing the book Journey by Aaron Becker. It's one of my, I kind of forced Middle Read and Little Read selections this year. I played some IOUs I had. Journey is this awesome picture book without words, which is, again, something we've never done before. And it's essentially a story about imagination. It's about a child who discovers a magic crayon and draws a world. And it's up to you to tell the story. So Becker has drawn it out for you, but you get to tell the story. And I'm really excited to see what that experience is going to be like for us in our story times and in our visits to classrooms and other outreach opportunities, but also for children and families throughout West Michigan, what that shared experience is with this book. And then finally, the mini read this year is Row, 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 Your Boat.
Yeah, the classic children's run.
Oh, yes. And it's a bilingual one. We really try to emphasize books, programs that can be bilingual. So Journey is a great example. Because it's no words, it is multilingual. It's all lingual. And then Row, Row, Row Your Boat is a bilingual board book.
So good for like the really little readers, or when you're sharing it with babies and toddlers and that sort of thing. You can kind of engage in that sort of play. And additionally, it's a familiar rhyme, so you can connect with readers in that way.
We try to find books that kind of match a theme. So the big read selection happens first. We have to pick that book. And if you are interested, we can get into the nuts and bolts of how that's done. But once we have selected the big read book, we try to find middle read selections and little read selections that really match the theme of that book. Little Read started a couple of years after Big Read did. So we've been doing Little Read for a long time. The Middle Read really just started a few years ago. And up until now, we've primarily focused on graphic novels.
Was New Kid the first one?
No, it was actually the year before. We did kind of a soft launch of the Middle Read. And this was going along with the book Circe, and we wanted to kind of focus on the hero's journey. We did 3 books. Now you're testing this brain of mine. I know one was Ben Hatke, his book Zeta the Space Girl, which
I do remember that now. Yeah.
That's a favorite of mine. And then we
Miles Morales' Spider-Man by Jason Reynolds.
And then the graphic novel of the Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, by
Rob.
Yep.
Hines is the last name, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Hinds.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a lot of obviously graphic novel adaptations of the Odyssey, but we selected one in particular that was going to be really accessible for our age range and tied into our theme of Odyssey and of classics. For this particular selection this year, our theme is also sort of a journey, specifically a watery journey. Obviously, in I Cheerfully Refuse, you have a ship journey across Lake Superior, but then in A Wish in the Dark, you also have a setting that is a coastal city where boats and water do play a large role. Row Your Boat, of course, a boat. And then Journey as well is about sort of an imaginative escape through a land that is different from the one that we currently inhabit. That's sort of the unifying theme across all of the books in terms of their setting and their atmosphere. Other themes we have include sort of resistance against a larger force. I Cheerfully Refuse and A Wish in the Dark in particular are very interested in that idea, in addition to things like light and atmosphere and water. I think they're a really good selection this year. I'm really excited to share them with our community.
Yeah, and building on that, a couple other things. I think all of them, well, at least the 3 kind of primary ones, really kind of focus on the question of hope versus despair. That's really prevalent in I Cheerfully Refuse, but is echoed in A Wish in the Dark and Journey as well. And then kindness. And the importance of kindness and grace and empathy. Those are all really important, not just in these books, but in our community as well.
Great. And I think one of the things that I've seen done well by having so many community partners and being in the programming team is that we have book discussions, which are great and valuable, but it's not just book discussions. There's a lot of thought put into different programs. So I'm going to ask, what program are you most looking forward to this year that goes along with the big read?
Well, I'm going to flip the script, Heather, there by saying the book discussions. No, I am kidding, but I am really excited about our author visit this year. So Lee Fenker is going to come. He's doing a couple events in the community, but it is the first time in Big Read history that he's actually coming to the library to give a presentation. Often the Big Read author will go to Hope College and give a presentation there, and he is doing that, but he's also going to be at the main branch on November 12 for an author visit and book signing event. Which is really great to have him in our space where people can come and see him in a familiar setting. Before that, we are doing a couple of book discussions. So if you do want to kind of meet with people and chat before the author comes, we have opportunities for that, both at the main branch and the North Branch. But if you also just want to come and hear him speak and then maybe get your book signed, we're going to have an opportunity to do that at Herrick this year.
And it's fair for your favorite thing to be the book discussion. That's fun.
Well, it is there. I mean, it's a bit boring to say, but really the book discussions we have around the big read tend to be just fascinating. They're usually intergenerational. You get a wide range of ages and people from different backgrounds who've all come together to read this singular book, which when the big read really works, that's kind of what it's about, is different perspectives all across the community approaching the same story. And in my experience, the book discussions have been where that comes out most explicitly.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. We did, Annaka and I led some internal book discussions recently for staff, and they were great discussions. And you walk away from them with a better appreciation of the book, but also you learn things about each other in the process. And we really are asking our patrons, our neighbors, our friends, our colleagues to take that leap of faith and do something that might not necessarily be comfortable for them. We all have the types of books we like to read. I wouldn't necessarily read this book. I wouldn't probably have picked up most of, if not all, well, not most of the big read books, but that's part of what makes it great, is to read these books, to learn about these books. You learn more about yourself. You learn more about your neighbors. So those book discussions really are the highlight. I would agree. Some other things. So with Wish in the Dark, we have a few programs at the North Branch I'm really excited about. A couple I'll point out. There's a theme of blessings in the book, and silly blessings that you don't know what that blessing really is until you know. You know when you know. And it kind of provides some humor in the book, but also some really touching moments. So we are doing a program where we are going to make bracelets like they have in the book with silly blessings attached to them. We're also going to be doing one where we make our own orbs. Light plays a very important role in Wish in the Dark. And we're going to make our own orbs, but we're going to have food provided by this phenomenal Vietnamese restaurant that's right next to the North Branch. So it's going to be kind of a come, make orbs, learn about the book, and eat delicious banh mi's and other types of food. And then one thing with Journey, we're doing a community art project in the North Branch inspired by the book Journey, where everyone's going to get a piece of paper and it's going to have doors on the left and on the right. And then the goal is that we will connect all of these pieces of paper by doors and have our own journey throughout the library, where each page represents a different world, a different idea, and you can hop from one to the other. So those are my favorite ones.
I'm excited to see that one. When I was reading about that proposal, I thought that looked fun.
I'm hopeful. We kind of had a big breakthrough moment in the design last week, and we all got very excited. So, yeah.
Awesome. Amanda, are you doing anything you're excited about for Big Read?
I'm only doing one. Since boats are such an important part of Wish in the Dark, I'm going to have kids try to build their own boat to make it float in water. But Erin's doing row your boat story time, I think, and she's going to have the kids make their own boats because she's done drive-in story time before, and it's really cute. So I think that will also be adorable.
So boat in story time,
Yeah.
like you sit in your boat.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think it would be so fun.
adorable.
What about you, Heather? I know you're doing some.
So I'm doing a tween program at the North Branch I'm excited about. As Rob said, in A Wish in the Dark, orbs play a big part. And so we are doing glow painting on orbs of things that make us hopeful. And so we're going to have the lights turned down. We're going to have the neon lights going, and they are going to add paint to make their orbs glow about what they're hopeful about. And I'm really excited to see how that turns out and what they choose to paint.
I'll pitch one more thing. We do a program called the Story Project, where we use the Big Read slate of books to inspire kids to write their own books. Depending on the age range, we either do the little read or the middle read. And we actually partner with West Ottawa Schools, and then primarily West Ottawa, but some others as well. and we go into classrooms and we talk about the book, and then the teachers and the classroom write a book inspired by either Wish in the Dark or Journey. And this is now the 4th year we've done this, and it's grown every year. Last year we had, I think it was 24 classrooms finished the project. And when they finish, we make a book, we print a book that they've written, and we actually catalog it and put it into the library's collection. And so those kids are now published authors, and they can come and check out their book. And it's a really great process, really cool. I mean, we're working with hundreds of kids, and we do author celebration parties, like release parties. And it's just kind of something that is a year-round experience for our kiddos, and it's really, really cool. So I'm excited to see what comes from this year.
Okay, now we're going to put our reader's advisory caps on to see if you can describe I Cheerfully Refuse in 3 words.
I'll tell you mine. I think the great question of I Cheerfully Refuse is it about grief or hope, despair or hope? So the 3 words I would say are despair or hope.
Oh, okay. All right. I think I understand now.
Okay.
My first word is lyrical. Thank you. Yeah, I'll approach it the more traditional way and probably give you 3 adjectives. So lyrical, atmospheric. Is Odyssean a word? And if it is it too pretentious?
You do Homeric.
I feel like that's even worse.
I think if you want it to be a word, it's a word.
Thank you.
We'll go Seuss on it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked in our discussions how this book feels like the retelling of the Odyssey or the Iliad or something from myth or fable. It's not, but it follows the beats of those types of things. So I think Odyssean is a very apt.
Well, it's a little bit more exciting than episodic.
I think that's pretty great. So as you've been doing, I mean, Rob, you just gave an example with the Iliad and the Odyssey and everything. Are there any read-alikes that you would recommend for I Cheerfully Refuse or A Wish in the Dark?
Yes. So we drew straws, and I get to say this one. It's a book we both love, and it is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. It's another dystopian book, but like I Cheerfully Refuse, it's a very believable dystopian book. Like, it doesn't feel that far off. Station 11 deals with a worldwide pandemic and gained notoriety because it came out shortly before 2020 and felt
prescient?
a little too prescient. And then I Cheerfully Refuse is about a world that you can easily see how our world would become. But it's a fantastic book. And just a plug for Emily St. John Mandel. In general, her books are all kind of connected. Not all, but like the last 3 are all connected. And so if you do like Station 11, keep going and really, really enjoy her stuff.
Yeah, in a similar vein, the book that I thought of immediately was Good Morning Midnight by Lily Brooks Dalton, which was made into a movie about 5 years ago, I want to say, by George Clooney. Similar in that it's a near future dystopia, although it's different from I Cheerfully Refuse in that it's less focused on sort of the machinations of like the state or what have you. That's often a common trope in dystopias. It is about a researcher who's on an Arctic site when they lose communication with the outside world. And it's sort of about the continuing on after the world as you know it has ceased to exist. So again, sort of a more peaceful approach to dystopia or apocalypse than some of our more traditional stories in that genre. But if you like books that are maybe more quiet, maybe more lyrical, this is going to be a good one for you.
We did have that question during our internal book discussions, and it was really interesting to see what people came up with. So lots of dystopian, apocalyptic novels. One of our colleagues, Craig, suggested A Gentleman in Moscow. Is it in? Yeah, A Gentleman in Moscow, which is not dystopian at all. It's historical fiction, but it was interesting how some of the beats did kind of line up about these connections, this world community building. I love when you can think of a book recommendation that does not seem to be at all like the book you're reading, but when you take a step back, you can actually kind of see how it vibes. So that's a shout out to Craig. What up, Craig?
Mm-hmm. Craig, also fan of Good Morning Midnight. Hello, Craig.
And welcome back to the Craig Appreciation Podcast. We just like Craig.
Yeah, and in terms of the middle read, A Wish in the Dark. So the book that immediately came to my mind was Squire by Sarah Alfagi, which is not a fantasy in the way that A Wish in the Dark is. It's actually an alternate history and a graphic novel. So those are the differences, but it's similar in that, well, first off, it's a really excellent middle grade book that's appealing to people of ages beyond, children, but also great for them, about a young person who's discovering that the structure that they have lived in or have aspired to be might be more complicated than they at first realized, and also might be more sinister than they at first realized. And what their response to that is going to be shapes the outcome of the narrative. So a really excellent graphic novel if you like A Wish in the Dark.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. I hadn't thought of that. And when Annaka mentioned it, I got excited. There are lots of great graphic novels that would be good read-alikes for Wish in the Dark. The ones I came up with, kind of a little outside the box, but I love the books by Kelly Barnhill. So The Girl Who Drank the Moon is a family favorite of ours. We've read out loud multiple times. And then also The Ogre and the Ogress. Both are more fantasy than dystopian fiction, but they deal with kind of similar magical power dynamics that I think if you like Wish in the Dark with that kind of that internal struggle that's at the heartbeat of Wish in the Dark, I think you would like Barnhill's books as well.
I think A Wish in the Dark is good for kids who like that Percy Jackson sort of mythology-inspired fantasy too.
Yeah, sure. And that's a shout out to Rick Riordan, who has created essentially his own publishing label, and all of these books inspired by the Percy Jackson series. And he started writing books about different cultures and realized maybe he wasn't the best person to write those books. So he kind of reached out to other great authors to write books about their cultures, about their mythologies and fables. And there's some really, really good books in that series.
Definitely. So as we've been talking about the Big Read, you can certainly find information about our different programs and visits in our program flyer, but what's the timeline for kind of start of Big Read events to end of Big Read events for those that are looking to participate?
Big Read originally was a November program. Every year it gets a little bit bigger. And finally, this is the year we accepted the fact that it's at least 2 months. So I think the official start date is October 1, which we're recording this on the last day of September. But it's already begun. So we announced the books. This year we announced the books the beginning of August, and we're already having discussions. We're already having people coming in and checking out the book and wanting to talk about it. So it really does kind of just start the moment the book is announced and then lasts well into December. But the programs will start in earnest next month.
Mm-hmm. And some of our heaviest hitters are probably in November. So, for example, the Leaf Anger author visit is on November 12. This year, we have moved the middle read author to spring. So keep an eye on our programming flyers for that announcement as well. But yes, they're in our programming flyers. They're on our website. And this year, we do have a Big Read specific flyer that just has all of our Big Read programs in it. So if you're interested in that, you can grab that either at the North Branch or the main library downtown.
And we kind of mentioned, like, this is a community-wide program. So obviously, we hope you come to Herrick's programs, but there are events throughout Holland, Muskegon, Zeeland, Spring Lake, Hudsonville. I mean, throughout West Michigan. So lots of opportunities to get involved.
And if you want the full calendar of events for organizations beyond Herrick, that's going to be on Hope College's website. If you just do an internet search for Big Read 2025 Hope College, you should be able to get their calendar.
This brings us to today's Book Bite segment where we're going to be discussing apocalyptic books. Amanda, would you like to tell us about the book you picked for this time?
Yes. So I picked The Marrow Thieves by Cherie Dimaline, which is a near future young adult apocalyptic book about a future where people can no longer dream, and it's kind of affecting their quality of life. And the only cure for this not dreaming is the marrow of Indigenous people, the bone marrow. So it follows this group of teens who are on the run for people trying to hunt them for their bone marrow to cure the fact that they can't dream. And it's pretty similar to, I would say it's a good teen read-alike for our Cheerfully Refused, because it has, it's a little more tense, I would say, because they're being hunted by these groups of massive groups of
Cannibals.
people. Yeah, essentially. Yeah. But it has that sort of journey aspect. They're kind of going through, I think it's the northern United States. I don't remember exactly where, but I would say it's a good read-alike for that.
Rob, what did you pick for us this time?
Yeah, I am selecting Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. I would not have thought of it as a dystopian or apocalyptic book, but some of the book does, well, the book has everything. And that's one of the reasons I love this book so much. It's one of my favorite books of the last 10 years, if not 50 years. I love books that have multiple parts that all come together. So it's like a puzzle, basically. And this book has multiple...
Plot-wise or character-wise?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So multiple storylines. It is, and it's the kind of book where you think there is no way that he's going to be able to pull it all together, and he does. And it's breathtaking as for a reader, but then also it is incredibly thought-provoking. It is joyful and heartbreaking and hopeful and all of these things. It makes me very happy. It's one of I read the book when it first came out and loved it. So Anthony Doerr wrote All the Light You Cannot See, which won all of the awards. Everybody loves it. Universally praised book. And how do you follow that book? And if you're Anthony Doerr, you follow it with an even better book. So it might have a silly name, but it is absolutely worth your time.
Annaka, what book did you pick for us today?
Yes, I am thrilled to, like Amanda, also be bringing cannibalism to the table. I have brought Ogres by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Now, if you know me, you know that I
love cannibals.
Yeah, that's what it is. Big fan on that. Come to the information desk and we can talk. No. Anyways, I love Adrian Tchaikovsky. He's one of my all-time favorite authors, and he has a massive catalog. He's written 30 plus books, and Ogres is one of my absolute favorites. It's probably in my top 5. And it's very short. It is 150 pages. You will get through it in one sitting. It is possibly one of his most experimental books in that, okay, don't get frightened, it is written in the second person. And it is about a near future dystopia that's almost fairy tale-esque. It's almost like a fable. You have the normal people who are living their normal lives under their ogre lords. So they're cannibalistic overlords, basically, who are described throughout the book as being ogres. The story follows one human who, for various reasons, has to leave his home and go on a journey where he encounters various ogres and other humans that are inhabiting this world. I don't want to say any more than that because, again, this book is only 150 pages and it is so fascinating and enjoyable that if you are a fan of science fiction, if you're a fan of dystopia, if you like sort of experimental books, or even if you're just really into short books, Ogres by Adrian Tchaikovsky is the one for you.
If you are kind of new to science fiction, do you still think it's a accessible book?
I think so. It's a bit odd. So you have to get into it a little bit. So Adrian Tchaikovsky, one of the reasons why I really enjoy him is that he's great at world building. But in a book like this, because it is so short, you truncate a lot of that. And so you have to trust the reader to extrapolate. So if you're not used to doing that sort of thing in the context of science fiction, it might take a little more to get into it. But it's worth it. The book is worth it. 100%. And then after that, you can read all the rest of his books because you'll be so far down the rabbit hole, you won't want to climb out. Do you need more? I have more dystopian books that he specifically wrote.
Do you want to talk about another one? You can.
Oh, it's okay. I better stop while I'm ahead.
Needless to say, Annaka loves Adrian Tchaikovsky.
Mm-hmm. All right, Heather, what about your book?
So this book is actually a book I read at least 10 years ago, but we still have it. It's called Life as We Knew It by Susan Beth Pfeiffer. And this book scared the absolute crap out of me. I think because so many elements of it are so believable and could happen. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. So in this book, the moon gets hit by a meteor. And after the moon gets hit by a meteor, it gets pushed closer to Earth. And it completely throws off everything in the tides. It causes earthquakes. It causes volcanoes to erupt. There's volcanic ash that causes like an Arctic winter everywhere. And there's ash in the sky. And so then it's essentially going through how people respond and are going through survival mode when you've had these natural disasters happen that there's literally nothing you can do about. And it follows a high school girl through her journal entries and her going from what a typical high schooler might be talking about between friends and school and relationships and family. And then it's switching the context to now her family is huddled together and trying to survive. And they've got some food and resources, but when the supplies run out, they run out. And then what do? And this is a book, I think, because it is so believable to happening, it sticks with you and you start to wonder, well, what would I do if that happened? And it's a really fascinating read. It's actually a series. I did not read past the first one because it scared me so bad. But it is a really fascinating read if you are into these what if scenarios that are very plausible.
I think there's 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And I think I have read all 3, and they do become progressively more hopeful.
Oh, well, that's
as you get towards the end.
Any cannibalism?
No. No cannibalism in those. I mean, not on page. That's not to say it's maybe not happening in other places in the world.
Is that in your fan fiction, Amanda?
No, but you never know.
I mean, Jamestown, they had cannibalism. That's how they survived.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a kind of a dark period in Jamestown.
Anyway, join the big read.
So Annaka and Rob, thank you for joining us today and letting us know all about the big read. We hope that you will join us listeners at some of our big read events, read the book and get to have great conversations and learn along with us. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you very much for having us.